Warm welcome. This is Markus Termin at the 11th of August 2024. The moon changed from Libra to the sign of Scorpio. See it here. And this is what makes the first square position of Sun and Moon after the new moon in Leo. Now, Scorpio is interesting. It's a square position. That means it's not 100%, better put it that way, comfortable. But anyhow, there are so many things going on up there that the moon square doesn't bother that much, because what is really going on is the conjunction, the upcoming conjunction in between Mars and Jupiter, and this is all the hype and spin that you're feeling. This is, many arguments are out there, many people are talking, giving their view of this situation. But to clarify that, it makes the impression, if you go through the information cybernetics, as I call it, which is all the things that are floating out there, which includes, of course, manipulation and mostly manipulation, we are getting into a deeper view of things. More and more people in the world question things, get additional knowledge, are waking up towards is this right? Do we have false claims? Is the direction right? The world is moving in. Of course, this is not the majority, but it's the 10% of the people who are able to question things. So there's some hope in that. Since it's Sunday today, I want to say a word about astrology too, because astrology is actually one of the most offended disciplines of knowledge, to express it carefully. And why is that? Because the situation is this: we do live 100% on a scientific world view, on a picture of the world, 100% scientific. The idea that this could be wrong is far, far away from any serious thought, and this is the reason is why, because it's so closely connected to technique. Now, technique is not natural science, it's something different, but natural science and technique, they since long have made a marriage. They are kind of one unit, actually. And then there's logic, and scientific researchers and anybody who's in that field claim for themselves they do own logic. Actually, most of them think mathematics is logic, is pure logic, and is the essence of logic. And that, actually, folks, is not true. It's just not true. Because why isn't that true? Because if we're living in an eternal universe, it's without any border. It's just not possible to measure it out mathematically. And if the universe is not eternal, but has borders, or is just a unit of something, there will always pop up the question, what is outside? And that means, from that perspective, that you can't solve problems with mathematics. Mathematics is a special playable tool that is good for something, especially also to have calculations, to put out a chart like that with my computer, which is very fine and very usable, but it's not capable for the steering of life. You can't take something that we don't understand yet, because nobody knows what life actually is, how it initially started, or did it start at all. We don't have no questions, no answers to that, no answers to the question, no question to the answer. You know, that is vice versa. It's around. And considering that and looking at the world, astrology is really the only left tool of self-acknowledgement. And to put it that way, if this is true, science is wrong. You see that? And this is why they kind of use it. You know, the bad folks use astrology too, but science is opposing it, and most scientists, like if you go talking in a community and they say, "Oh, this is an astrologer," you know, he's mad, he's a lunatic. We don't have to listen to him at all. All his arguments must be false because he's an astrologer. And turning that around, astrology is not a sidekick of society, is not community notes, is not a thing that is unserious, you know, because this is actually the essence of pure possible self-acknowledgement of the soul and the character. And this leads, taken seriously, beyond science into a new world, into a scientifically developed world in a way that is above science. You know, we're not part of it all. We are far older. The technique actually comes probably from Atlantis. You know, it's far more older than 2,000 or 6,000 or 10,000 years. The discoveries go deeper and deeper. The oldest zodiac that we know is actually at the cave of those French caves that they discovered, which Languedoc is the name, I guess, and can't express the French word exactly. But this is, we have hints on astrology in those caves that are actually 30,000 years old. That is very, very old. This is the oldest wisdom of mankind. This is the foundation, you know. And also this gives proof that science is wrong. Why is that? Because if that is true, if a person was born at this moment, you know, he would have a rising Virgo sign, and his sun would be in Leo, and his moon or her moon would be in the sign of Scorpio. You can see it in the face, you can feel it in the character, you know all the outcomes of those persons. Now, most of our followers in astrology think that astrology is a thing for predicting the future. And yes, we can see some paths of what might be going on in the next time, but predicting the future is actually a main field of science. You know, this is what science tries to do, but will always fail because it's a metaphysics and it has actually no real contact to reality, you know, to what is the full value of reality. And this is why the art of astrology, because we can't call it a science and it doesn't matter to call it a science, is not only a phenomenon at the edge of societies, something that you put on society pages and on feuilletons and things like that, but it's the center of the most serious possible tool to get self-acknowledgement for mankind and individuals. You know, this is what astrology really is. And this is the reason why they try to keep it out of the focus of things that they think are proved, you know, and they are not. They are actually not. Now, if you go into discussions with a scientifically educated person and you have a slight knowledge in philosophy, you can get them on the floor within 2 sentences, you know. And what happens is then always the same thing. The arguments come. Well, we're not flat earther. You want to go back to the Middle Ages. And also there's an argument saying that well, you can't discuss about gravity, you can't discuss about natural laws and anything like that. Well, no, we can discuss about that, and we have to discuss about that, because civilization has never been that wrong. as it is now. And it will depend on how are we going to be able to ride this dragon and chase him back into his cave, to use him for the better good of mankind instead of being enslaved by it. This is the basic situation that we're actually sitting in. Are we going to be slaves of the technique, or are we going to rule it and use it as a tool? And as it looks nowadays, we don't have no chance. Life seems to be weak, and the technique is crawling over, getting a grip at everyone, and anybody's depending on cell phones and things like that. But this is not going to be the future. We will overcome this. Mankind will survive and will be stronger than technique itself. But speaking this and saying this, we have to go back to philosophy and find out what things really are. Now, there are a whole lot of words in the German language that come, first thing is you can express things only if you have a word for it that gives a meaning. The more words a language has that are meaningful, then you have a greater value, a greater spectrum of possibilities of imagining what is this really. Because in language, a single word doesn't give a definition of anything, but the definition is all like above the ground. A lot of words and sentences and rules, how we build those sentences, give possible access to sense, actually, and they are not self-understood. Languages change constantly. And for instance, in German, we have the word Selbsterkenntnis, and Selbsterkenntnis, you can translate it. It's not self-acknowledgement. It's not knowing yourself, but it's more like being enlightened by the idea of your existence. It's Selbsterkenntnis is far more transitive. It's far more going into the higher regions of your own being than just having a pale self-acknowledgement. Self-acknowledgement could just mean, well, actually, I know I'm there. I know I have, if I'm lucky, I have hands, legs, and anything like that. But Selbsterkenntnis is something different. And this is what we have to face. If we're living in the world, everybody uses a reduced form of English. Maybe I do that too. I try to improve it every day, but I'm talking about that very simplified worldwide pidgin English that unfolds itself wherever you go, and it's very reduced, and it takes the possibility out of the natural languages to express one very important wisdom that is hidden in every language, and it's different from the other one. And that's the interesting thing. That's actually the world we want to live in, a world of plurality, a lot of possibilities, ideas coming from everywhere, people working together to find the best solutions and things like that. We will come a long way to this aim throughout the age of, I'm not talking about age of Aquarius, because this doesn't exist actually. It's an arrow. It's just the exchange of scale and reality. This is relativism is just a scale problem. That's it. They just try to move around the scale, and that doesn't work. It's mankind did not come over the idea of Copernicus yet. This is not happening. We're still in a reduced state of mind, in a reduced state of consciousness, and we got to go higher, and we will go higher, definitely. I'm convinced to that, and a lot of people are too. So anyhow, long talking today because it's Sunday. This moon, the Scorpio moon, is always to have a deep insight in psychic things, to have a deep insight in what kind of spirits are out there, what is really going on there. And if you have free time and spare time, why not give it a chance? Why not try that, Why not find out about things that you don't know yet? Because Mars, Jupiter, as you see up there, in the simplest version, this is just violence. This is just upgrowing violence, because Mars is always violent, and Jupiter is blowing that up. And the background of the Gemini sign, or foreground, differs in how you see it. It says two things. First of all, it's a battle of words, but then also it's a real battle. Aggression is growing, and we will see that until the full moon at the 19th, of August. This is so step back from this aggression. We don't need that. We don't want that. That's nothing. But we can have, looking at the positive side, turning it around, we can multiply our possibility to details in knowledge, to details in information that we did not have yet, And this is what I suggest is the best thing that you can spend this Sunday with. Relax and get more knowledge about details that you don't know yet. Thank you very much for listening. This is Markus Termin, Astrologisches Stundenbuch, at the 11th of August 2024. In case you like to get in contact with me, just choose this mail address up here, and down at my blog site you will find the conditions for a private consultation.